Hi, I'm Scott Jensen, former Assembly Speaker.
And I'm Chuck Chvala, former Senate Majority Leader.
And we're the Insiders. This week, we're going to talk about the president and his impact on Wisconsin politics. So the president had actually a pretty good first 6 months when he was in office, but the last couple of months have not gone well for the president between Afghanistan and the battle over the various stimulus bills they're talking about in Congress. So, Chuck, how do you think what kind of impact do you think that will have on some of the big races we're expected to see in Wisconsin in 2022?
Good question. And the reality is, this is where insiders can make a mistake. The reality is that what's important right now is all of this kerfuffle in DC about what's going to happen with the packages and also Afghanistan. By the time we get to next year, both of these things will be in the rearview mirror and actually in a positive vein. There will be a package that will be put together in DC, and that will redound to Biden's benefit. And there will be a general feeling, which the public already has, that they wanted to be out of Afghanistan. And they'll realize that 100 and some thousand people were rescued from Afghanistan. And the feelings will overall be much better. So I think Biden's standing will be better than it is now. And it's really not bad now, because really the enduring things are going to be COVID and the economy. That's really where the core of this is going to be. And we'll be beyond COVID, or nearly so, by that time. And we'll also have an economy, I think, that will be pretty good. So I see that in the light at the end of the tunnel being a very good one. What will that mean? Well, it's still a president in an off year, and that is generally not helpful. But I do believe that we are now so tribal that I don't think that means as much. So I do think that if Biden is able to get something done on the packages and move forward on COVID and the economy, I think that his impact next year could actually be a positive. And if it's simply neutral, I think that next year, Ron Johnson and Governor Evers and the Attorney General races are the biggies. And I can see Democrats sweeping all three. Now, if we get the traditional, it's the president and the off year is not going to work, yeah, it could be a problem. But I think overall, people do not want to return to the chaos of January 6th. And I think Ron Johnson reminds them of that. And Tony Evers and Joe Biden remind them of normalcy. I think that's a net positive for Democrats next year.
Well, I think it's a little hard to ignore the fall in numbers for the president. The president's numbers have dropped dramatically. Just saw a poll the other day in Iowa, in which the president's actually upside down. A clear majority of people disapprove of the job that he's doing in Washington. That's going to be a problem. But what's even more of a problem is the question that people use in elections in the back of their head is, are things headed in the right direction, or are we off on the wrong track? And if a president, the judgment is that at the national level or at the state level, that things are headed off on the wrong track, they vote against the incumbents. They look for somebody of the party outside of the that's not in the White House to elect to offices up and down the ballot. So I think that's, all the polling I see shows that people think the nation is on the wrong track, and even more so that Wisconsin is on the wrong track. Those answers are going to be bad news for Democrat incumbents here in Wisconsin. And I think that's what's going to drive the elections here. People will say, we gave them a try. We thought they were up to it. They weren't up to it. It's time to give somebody else a shot. And I think that's what you will see in the governor's race. I think the U.S. Senate race will clearly be closer. Wisconsin's the home of the 50-50 race. So I'm not going to suggest either side is going to sweep, but I do think that one will be closer. I think that the open congressional seat in Western Wisconsin that Ron Kind previously held, that will get very caught up in the national mood. And if the national mood is to punish the Democrats, then that seat is clearly going to go to the Republicans.
And I would again say that this is where insiders can make a mistake, taking the current situation and extrapolating that onto next year. I see the dynamics coming into next year very differently. And I also think that one thing that really hurts Republicans on this is that people then have to choose the alternative. And the alternative that they will see is the chaos of Donald Trump. And already Rebecca Playfish is doubling down on, oh yes, I'm willing to go the Texas route on abortion. Those are not things that are going to be beneficial for Republicans moving forward. And the closer that they have to hew to the line of Donald Trump and the previous chaos, the worse it will be. And Joe Biden in that situation, which is what this segment is about, what does Joe Biden do? He still looks like calm. He still looks like normalcy. And so does Tony Evers. And I think at the end of the day, that's what people are going to react to rather than a particular poll number at this particular point in time.
I think in the case of Joe Biden, he's gone from being calm to being incompetent. And I think that is very hard to come back from. So we'll see. I think you're right. It's appropriate caution. 14 months out is a long time in politics. Lots of things can change. Luck can take you in lots of different directions, and mistakes can take you in lots of different directions. So far, in the last couple of months, Joe Biden's been ruled by the mistakes rather than by luck. But we'll see.
We'll be here to tell you about it. See you next time.